Three, two, one. Hello and welcome back to the Delinquents podcast. I am joined today by my one and only co-host, Shane.
Yo, what it do, baby? Ha!
And so basically this whole episode is going to be dedicated to the new movie in the Star Wars saga, The Rise of Skywalker, the finale for the whole Skywalker saga. So what we're going to do is we both have theories planned as to what we think is going to happen, and we tried not to watch anything or read anything prior to making these theories. But then we do have other theories that we've looked up on Reddit or YouTube, and we're going to kind of discuss what we think would be tangible to being accurate for the layout of the movie. So do you want to go first? You want me to go first? Who talks
You go
first?
first.
You talk first?
Who talks first? You talk first.
I talk first?
Okay,
All
you
right.
go first.
All right. So what I have written down on my theory is this is pretty much it. So I think that Rey is going to train under Leia using the books that she took from Luke while they're traveling throughout the galaxy in search of allies. Okay? She's going to find out somehow, I don't know how, but she'll find out about Palpatine and how he's a malevolent force and how he, did all this shit to mess up the universe. Kylo is going to be persuaded by Palpatine to do his bidding by fueling him into believing that he can become the next Vader, which was kind of, his whole wanting to be a Sith anyways, was Snoke was telling him that he could be the next Vader. But then by the end of The Last Jedi, he was like, screw that, I don't want to do that. Let it all die. Kill it if you have to. So, but anyway, so the gang are going to be led to this desert planet where they're searching for a group of people to stand up against the First Order. Rey will then head to whatever this planet is where the Death Star is, the destroyed Death Star. I'm just calling it the Throne right now because of that whole, throne that we see in the first trailer and throughout the rest of the trailers. Finn and Poe will go on some sort of a starship, either in search for something or a way to take them down. Poe's going to fight the final battle in his X-Wing, and Finn is going to go after Rey on the ruins of the old Death Star. My personal opinion is I think the final battle in space is going to consist of old stormtroopers and not the First Order stormtroopers, because there's that whole scene of all those naval ships, and they're old school original trilogy Star Destroyers. So they're not First Order ones, they're the old school ones. Anyway, so Kylo will confront Rey aboard the broken Death Star. Somehow she'll escape and find Palpatine's throne, and she will attempt to confront him. Now, this is where, I don't know, and this is my gut feeling, what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think Kylo Ren is going to end up trying to help Rey defeat Palpatine in the end, but the Force ghosts of Luke, Anakin, Yoda, and Leia, because I'm assuming Leia will die in The Rise of Skywalker. That's what I'm assuming. They will come to her aid and Kylo's aid. Rey will defeat Palpatine, but Kylo Ren will die. That's my gut feeling. Or Kylo Ren will die, Rey will die, and Kylo Ren will assume the last name of Skywalker. Those are my two theories on how this will end.
Okay.
And that's not counting all the other theories that I've now read, and it made me change my opinion. But that was my original thought.
I'm trying to think of one that doesn't have any influence from other things that I've seen, and it's tough.
Just go for it.
Okay. So, how am I gonna start this off? Basically, I feel like, first of all, the reason why Palpatine's even in this at all is obviously he didn't die, but he went out into the, what do you call it? The unknown regions? Is that what it's called?
I think it's called the unknown regions.
And
outer reaches. Which
happens to coincide with the First Order coming from the unknown regions. That's where the remnants of the Empire went to after Return of the Jedi. They went there, or not even after Return of the Jedi. It was after the Battle of Jakku and all that shit.
Yeah.
So they met out there, and I'm guessing Palpatine was like, "Hey yo, let's just like get back up there." You know what I'm saying? They're like, "Let's regain control of the galaxy." So First Order popped up, and I feel like Snoke, whoever Snoke is. Now I've heard theories and I've seen leaks of like or supposed leaks of what Snoke is, but I'm just gonna say like what I feel like is Snoke was some old being who's been around for God knows how long.
Yeah, like an ancient Yoda type character.
Yeah, and Palpatine is messing with him, like controlling him without directly controlling him. Like he's because Palpatine's really strong, so with the Force, and he can do like he made Anakin pop up when Anakin was born. That was Palpatine doing the midichlorian shit.
Yeah.
So I feel like that, and combined with the fact that he knew how to not die, which is literally the whole reason Anakin turned anyway, because he's going to teach him that.
Yeah.
I feel like that is how he survived, and he's making the whole First Order, but still keeping the old Empire. Hence why the Star Destroyers are in there and stuff. And since the First Order's been shit on, he's got to use what he has left, which is the old Star Destroyers, and he's going to. I guess he's gonna get his hands dirty and try to clean this up and actually kill everybody. But Rey, I feel like, is going to finish her training, because I don't. When they say this takes place, it's not right after the Last Jedi. It's like a year or two.
I thought they said a year. Yeah.
I think at most it's like 3 years. It's like 1, 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah. Well,
so Rey
like
has been
1
training.
and 3.
So Rey's been training, and I'm gonna assume. Story-wise, since Leia is alive, the character, I mean, Carrie Fisher's not, so rest in peace,
R.I.P.
Also, I'm really interested to see how they handle that.
Yeah.
How to handle her scenes, because she died before filming, right? Before they started filming this movie?
No, I think it was she started filming it, and then halfway through, she passed on. I think, at least. If not, then she passed on before, and they're just reusing old footage. But I know they definitely did use old footage. Like, you can even tell in that one clip of Rey hugging her that was straight up from The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like, that had to have been from The Force Awakens. So, but yeah. So what else do you have to your theory here? Is that pretty much?
So I also think she's gonna train under Leia, because Leia, I feel like, knew how to use the Force the whole time, but just didn't. I feel like it's something she just never did.
Yeah, she wasn't the Jedi. She was the politician. Senator.
Yeah. And Luke had to have taught her something before. Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking, she definitely knew how to use the Force. That's why she used it at that time, because she needed to. That was, she was dying.
It was out of necessity. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like Kylo's going to sacrifice himself, because he's. I mean, I still don't think he's 100% like on the dark side. I feel like he's still on the fence about it. He has been like for ever. The whole time he's been in the series or the movies, he's always been like on the fence. And he says he's fully in the dark side, but I don't think so. So he's probably gonna end up sacrificing himself to give them the upper hand, and then Rey is gonna be like, "Hey, yo, watch this," and then she's gonna
Judy chomp him.
Mop the floor with Uncle Palps.
Okay. All right. That's I could see that happening. I think we're both pretty much in like agreement before we even talk. And just to be clear, like neither of us have talked about our theories to one another.
But this is the first time I've heard his and he's heard mine.
Yeah, like so it seems that we both are in agreement that. I mean, I thought at one point that Rey might pass on. But then at the same time, I thought, oh, shit, Kylo might pass on, Yeah. So, cool. So, that's actually...
Like the ultimate sacrifice kind of thing. He's going to redeem himself for everything bad he's done by giving his life in the name of good to, make up for everything he's done.
In the name of Skywalker. In the name of Skywalker. Okay, so, here's one that... So, I have... Let me see. 1, 2, 3... for kind of like a fifth one, but the fifth one is kind of an iffy little thing. But okay, so here's the first theory that I want to talk about. This was a video and by the New Rock Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like the whole video wasn't one theory. They kind of dabbled with like a couple different ones, but this was the one that I really wanted to hit on because I could see this one being the most plausible. So, do you remember in Battlefront 2 in the campaign Operation Cinder?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the theory. It kind of revolves around that. So Palpatine had a contingency plan for after his death called Operation Cinder, to where the Navy would basically rip off the planet's surfaces with weather controlling devices. So he was pretty much just like, if I can't have it, nobody can, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like I said, they kind of touched upon it and expanded on it in Battlefront 2's campaign. Like when we went to the one planet and like there was lightning storms and, all this shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's footage in The Rise of Skywalker with this beam. You could say that it's kind of like Starkiller base hitting the planetary surface. That's what it looked like. But still, it's a
Mm-hmm.
beam that hit the planet's surface, and the surface just started ripping up, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that could make sense. They were basically just saying that, this is Operation Cinder, and that maybe Snoke was just a puppet in Palpatine's plan. Because, clearly Snoke, he was powerful in the Force, and he was knowledgeable, but he was wealthy. I mean, he wore a golden robe, jewelry, he had this huge starship that he was on. And so he could have been helping create the new Imperial Navy in secrecy, right? Which would then carry out Palpatine's plan of Operation Cinder, because they started to do the plan, but then Iden Versio and the whole Rebel Alliance basically shut down Operation Cinder. So that was the theory that I was like, okay, that could actually, it wouldn't be the whole thing, but it's plausible because those are all original trilogy Imperial Star Destroyers. So I was like, okay, well, what if they are going to be distributed around the galaxy to finish out Operation Cinder?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I actually really liked that theory.
And it does do well with adding in that story from Battlefront 2. Because it doesn't completely rely on that, because I know they wouldn't do a storyline in a movie that has a big thing happening that comes from a video game, because not many people have played the video game, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or not everybody who's watching a movie has played the video game, not even a majority have.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That is a good balance between it. That keeps it like, it's not too much where people have to have played the game to know, but it does strike a good balance between the two.
Yeah, and I mean, that would honestly be a great comeback to the backlash that the fans gave to Disney after Solo and The Last Jedi. This would be like a great wrap up, bringing it back to the original trilogy, to really tie everything together.
Yeah,
because I can't remember who it was. It had to have been, it was either George Lucas or J.J. Abrams that said that their plan for, because George Lucas actually had plans to do a sequel trilogy, like a 7, 8, 9 of his own, and that his whole idea was to have Palpatine be the bad guy throughout everything. So this would, because Rian Johnson took a completely different direction than J.J. Abrams had started with The Force Awakens, that it seems like they're bringing it back to that idea that, Palpatine is the big main bad guy throughout everything. So, but yeah, I thought that was...
Yeah,
you're good.
I feel like they're definitely using a lot of influence from George Lucas, because he did help with the making of this movie.
Yeah.
I know they had him to
he was an executive producer or something, I think.
Yeah, which is good, and I really hope they went with it. The only thing I'm worried about, I know they said they did a lot of reshoots, and they did cut a lot of things from the movie as of recently, like as in a couple of months ago recently.
Oh, wow.
And I'm worried about what that could mean. I wonder if they did make the movie the way George Lucas intended, and they did do everything right, but then they're cutting stuff to kind of favor a different audience. Because I did notice that Disney's been trying to appeal to new fans, not the current, like the always have been Star Wars fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
And they even said that too. Like, yeah, these movies are not necessarily meant to completely appeal to the longtime fans of the series. It's meant to appeal to new fans. And I'm like,
I mean, they're
don't
gonna
know.
ultimately they're gonna do what they want to do. You know, it's Disney. If they decide to really listen to the fans, then they will. But you know, it's really gonna be up to them ultimately.
Yeah.
So hopefully they come around and make this kind of a cool little thing. So they also, I'm gonna touch on this last little one, and then I'm gonna let you throw one out. But so this was like a minor one, which it kind of made sense to me a little bit. But so essentially, they also implied that maybe Rey is a clone. So even though Palpatine shut down the creation of all the clones, he still had the facility open, which in the expanded universe would mean like Starkiller, and Vader creating the Star Killers and everything like that. But
Yeah.
the thing that they had backing this up was in the Last Jedi when Rey did her Dagobah type thing when she fell into the hole, and she was looking for her parents. You know, all of those versions of her were slightly different in the sense that like the timing was different, so that it was implying that it was a different person, but it was all the same person at the same time.
I see what you mean.
That when she asked to see her parents, it was her. So she doesn't have parents. That she was a clone that was dropped off on Jakku because, or as Finn would say, Jakku. So, because the whole idea was the Jakku graveyard had a bunch of like Sith artifacts and like Empire artifacts, so it was an important place. So it would make sense for if Rey was a clone to have been left there, you know, because Rey is 19 at the start of The Force Awakens. And The Force Awakens takes place, I think it was 34. Let me see. She's 19, and The Force Awakens takes 34 years after the Battle of Yavin. So, that would be roughly enough time for them to do it. I should have actually looked up when Return of the Jedi took place. So, I mean, they could have, you know, it was an interesting theory that I was like, okay, it makes sense with the vision she had that it was one person, that there wouldn't be a parent, it was just her. But yeah, I thought that one was just kind of a cool one. I don't know what you think about that one.
I can see that because I know they have like the what do you call it? The graveyards on Jakku. I know the Empire fought there. That was when the Empire lost. That was like the final battle. The Empire,
yeah,
against the rebellion, and they lost very badly.
Yeah.
And when did that take place? I think that took place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, I believe.
Yeah. It wasn't incredibly long, but it was definitely not right after.
So I wonder if there's like if it's not a coincidence that Rey just so happens to be on that planet, which happens to be the one that the Empire lost their last battle on, and you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like there's a catch to it.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, what theories do you have here? Let's throw out one of yours.
Okay. This one was one that I found. I think it was on Reddit, I believe.
Okay.
That's been going around a lot. I just have bullet points of what was in it. One was.
And we should probably say there potentially we could have spoilers if any.
Yeah,
of this
if
is
these
correct.
are right. So if these are right and you heard this, you will realize as you're watching the movie that they are right. So I mean, if you don't want to take that risk,
yeah,
click off now.
Just turn off. Yeah.
Okay. So the first bullet point that I have is a big one. Is that at the end of the movie, Rey declares herself as a Skywalker. She just calls herself a Skywalker. Somebody asked, like, who are you? I think it was something like that. And she was like, I'm Rey Skywalker. I don't know if that means she is blood of Skywalker, or if she's nobody, so she's giving herself a name. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
I don't know what that could mean. Uh, I saw whose video was it? I don't remember this guy's video. He, I think that's where I heard it from. I think it was this guy's video on YouTube. I heard this specifically, and he was like, he was saying how it was like an SJW thing. I don't know. I thought it was funny because he was getting really heated about it. But yeah, I don't know if she's just declaring herself that or what.
Yeah, that would totally make sense. I mean, this whole time she hasn't had a last name,
Yeah.
But
Although it would be kind of cool if she did happen to be a Skywalker, like an actual Skywalker or something.
Like legit, cool. Yeah, that would actually be. Well, I mean, see in Legends, I mean Luke, married Mara Jade, but I don't think they had any kids. I don't think. So.
Oh, I thought of one the other day. It was like, what if I was thinking like, what if Luke did have a child, which happened to be Rey? Maybe,
but that would
maybe like, how old is she?
She's
now
19.
Okay. I don't think the timing would add up. I was saying, like, what if he was like hurt from the idea that she might turn? But I just realized, is she about the same age as Kylo?
I'm actually just looking up how old he is in The Force Awakens. So
because that'll make the big difference.
Ben is 29. Ben is 29 years old at the time of The Force Awakens. Oh my!
So he's 10 years older than Rey.
Oh my god!
That could make sense. So because Rey was born 10 years after Kylo. I don't know how old Kylo was when he turned on Luke.
I'm not entirely sure. But wow.
If it lines up properly, maybe Rey was Luke's daughter at the time, and Luke was going to train Rey when she was old enough, but after seeing what happened with Kylo, he couldn't handle it, so he dumped her off on the planet, maybe? You know what I mean? That's could be really far-fetched, but
no, that could feasibly totally work. No, yeah. I mean, and especially if she just took the mantle of Skywalker, which actually kind of coincides with one that I was talking with someone about, that potentially, I mean, it contradicts a little bit what Luke said in The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi. He was like, I won't be the last Jedi. But what if they then change the name of Jedi to Skywalker? So Skywalker is a title. So I'm a Skywalker, which means that they're Jedi, so
I see.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that could be kind of a clever. So the rise of Skywalker, instead of saying the rise of, it would be like Return of the Jedi. It's not Return of a Jedi or the Jedi. It's just Return of, it is Return of the Jedi. It's not Return of a Jedi, right? It's saying the Jedi as a general whole. So implying that potentially it wouldn't be the rise of a Skywalker. It could still mean an individual, but at the same time, it could be taken as, the rise of Skywalker.
Like a double meaning.
Yeah. So it kind of leaves it open, which I thought could be a cool concept. But, I'm a Skywalker is nice, but it doesn't really roll off like I'm a Jedi.
Yeah.
So, but that's a cool one, though. I like that she maybe just picks up the name of Skywalker at the end.
Yeah. If that happens, if that does actually happen, it would be cool to say that. And I know she says it on Tatooine. That's what I was hearing in that same leak, that she was on Tatooine when she said it. I don't know what the reason. It sounds like it was at the very end of
yeah.
So I'm guessing that's like the last thing they say before the credits roll, I guess.
I'm a Skywalker. Okay.
Yeah, and then
that would be pretty good.
The next
yeah, you go ahead. You can throw out another one.
Next one I have. Rey uses Leia and Luke's lightsabers to make her own. Not Luke's, Luke/Anakin's lightsaber. She uses that one, and supposedly Leia's. So I'm guessing Leia did have one. She never used it.
Yeah.
That or it was a typo, but that'd be a very coincidental typo if it said Leia's lightsaber. To make her own, which would be a double-bladed. The only thing that threw me off was, what was it? They said the lightsaber would be, yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how you would get yellow from blue and whatever other color. Because I can't think of a color that would match with blue to make yellow.
Yeah.
Unless I'm.
Well,
But
that kind of coincides with this other one that I was looking into, where this was. I stopped reading it once I realized this person was basically giving a synopsis of the entire movie. But basically, they were saying that in the final fight, like if you remember the trailer where Rey and Kylo were fighting, it's got to be like in a starship or something, but it was all white and supposedly, I think it's Vader's helmet that was sitting there on top of this little pillar.
It was I saw a TV spot that showed another angle. That was Vader's helmet sitting on that pedestal.
Okay.
And they like deflected, I guess, and hit the pedestal it was on.
Yeah.
Basically.
But Rey is holding a dagger, right?
Yeah, I did see that dagger too. I don't know.
They were saying that it's a Sith.
Behind that.
Yeah. They were saying it was a Sith dagger that Kylo Ren had. And
I was thinking it was the dagger of Mortis, the one that was used in the Clone Wars show, the one that the son had.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing, is the son, the daughter, and the father.
It'd be cool if they brought that back. Oh my god, that would be sick.
The Force.
So, but essentially, they were saying that when Rey touched the dagger, like when she touched Luke's lightsaber originally, she has like a vision, and this could be like the spoiler thing, so if you don't want to listen to it, then click off. But that Rey basically has like a Dagobah moment where she touches it and she has to fight herself, but it's Rey with the double-bladed lightsaber. But what ends up happening is from what the leak said, because it was supposedly someone that had seen the movie or whatever, that that Rey will be defeated by her dark self, and it'll show to her that the dark side is physically more powerful, and the way to gain power is through the dark side, even though it is not the most ethical way. That's kind of what the person was saying, which I think that would be a great way of, because everyone was like, oh shit, is Rey gonna turn evil, and all this stuff. But
that would be kind of cool.
It would be low-key, like, that would be the biggest screw you. Like, she kills everyone, picks up a red lightsaber, and she's like, yeah, I'm ruling the galaxy now. Dun, 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 dun. Just right at the
That's
end.
how it ends.
Directed by J.J. Abrams. He would be hated by all time for everyone. But, but I thought it was a cool concept that it was basically just her seeing that the dark side is incredibly powerful and that she needs to be aware of it.
Yeah.
But that kind of ties in with yours. So but I think those are both actually really just solid ones, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have this other one by this, or did you have more? If you have more,
I have more, but you can say yours, and we just just keep throwing them out there, because I have a couple more. I think 4 more.
Oh, if you have 4 more, I have like. Hold on, wait. How many do I have? I have like 2 more, maybe.
They're all just like bullet points from the leak that I've heard that.
Okay, so do we want to? You have one that potentially might have spoiled the ending, right? You have one like that.
I do have one for that.
Okay,
yes,
let's save that one for the last bit. So if anyone gets through this, then they can not hear about the ending until the very end. So
okay.
All right, so here's one of my other theories. So it's by the Skywalker on Reddit. He said that basically, so the title Rise of Skywalker could mean that Luke or Anakin will come back from the dead to kill Palpatine. So when I was reading this, I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. But when they kind of explained it, I was like, okay, this could be kind of feasible, maybe. So, back in the Clone Wars, the animated series, Yoda went to learn how to become a Force ghost, right? When Qui-Gon Jinn was trying to tell him, like, this is what you need to do. You need to go here and whatever. So, basically, Yoda saw Anakin become Darth Vader and execute Order 66, right? So, and in the visions that he has, there. He fights Palpatine and Dooku. Anakin, kills Dooku there, which lines up with what happens in Episode 3. And he has to fight Palpatine on this like little bridge. And what ends up happening is Yoda basically has to give everything, like his life. He has to be willing to sacrifice everything to save Anakin. So like he stops fighting Palpatine to make sure Anakin can escape. So basically he sees all this and realizes that Anakin, he sees Anakin's fall to the dark side, the execution of all Jedi, but he realizes that it's something he has to do in order to let Anakin fall to the dark side, but then rise again as a reborn Jedi to save the galaxy. So it all kind of focuses So it all focuses back on Anakin being the chosen one. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So and what kind of makes sense to me about all of it is that potentially Luke and Anakin or Anakin could come back, but Yoda never, at least on screen, no one had talked about it, that Luke had, or Anakin for that matter, had learned how to become a Force ghost, even though it was a given, because at the end of Episode 6, Anakin's standing there next to Obi-Wan and Yoda. He never actually learned on screen how to. So this person was just saying, well, maybe Yoda taught it to Anakin prior to Order 66, so he knew what to do, but then he fell to the dark side, so it didn't really matter. Or for some reason, maybe Yoda was teaching him in his head how to become a Force ghost. Or maybe that he's even just, since he's the chosen one, that he automatically that he just gets to be a Force ghost, which could that to me makes more sense than like Yoda teaching him off screen. It just makes more sense to me that Anakin would just have that power.
That's like a really late tier thing you would learn. So, and Anakin wasn't even a master.
Yeah.
So
he was not granted the rank of master.
Yeah. Rip.
All
they had to do was just make him a master, and he would have been
exactly
cool.
And as far as we know, it probably wouldn't be Luke, even though it'd be cool to see Luke come back and kick some Daddy Palp's ass, like, the only thing that could be compared is maybe Luke's training on Dagobah with Yoda, because it was similar to the episode in the Clone Wars. Like, Yoda had to face an evil version of himself. Luke faced an evil version of himself, which just happened to be Vader. All of these tests, Luke kind of went through many versions, but as far as we know, he's not even a Force ghost, because we didn't see him at the end of The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, at the end of The Last Jedi. So, but I thought it was a cool concept that maybe Anakin could come back from the dead and save, save the day, or maybe fight Palpatine as a Force ghost, since Palpatine's clearly not necessarily gone. And then Rey maybe
that was actually in a leak, too. Different leak, not one of the credible ones, but
yeah.
Right, I mean, none of them are credible, but like
you never know.
Yeah. This one, they said the same thing, that Anakin would come back, and actually went to the extent to say that Luke, Leia, and Anakin would all come back and like help Rey defeat Palpatine, or like they would just be disembodied voices, like they would just speak to her. Like, those movies when somebody gets really strong and powerful and talk, their voice gets overlaid with like a demon's voice or something. Sort of like that, where she's going to talk and you have the voice of Luke, Leia, and Anakin, and, everybody in the Skywalker lineage over her voice at the same time. So she's being like empowered with them,
She goes
that was
Super Saiyan.
I think that's what they're pretty much, yeah.
That's actually that would actually be really cool to see, and then like
that would be dope. Like if her eyes started glowing blue from like she's about to use like some cool light side shit, and she's just like talking like a a Force demon.
Well, actually, I'm not. So this kind of ties into something else that I thought of, and I'm sure other people have thought of it. It's not just my own, but I didn't see anyone post this. Uh, what if it's like Avatar: The Last Airbender? Like in
What
the
do you mean?
sense that so the title of the chosen one is just passed down, right? So whenever there's an
Mhm.
imbalance, someone becomes the chosen one. So Anakin was the chosen one. Maybe Rey is the chosen one. That's why she doesn't have any
That's what I
parents.
think, because
And
Luke was not the chosen one because
no,
Anakin was still alive. He wasn't necessarily
gone.
Anakin, but he still was the chosen one, and he still did bring balance to the Force. But I know they say like when the Force is out of balance, it they're a chosen one. If there's not a chosen one, there will be one. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. Palpatine, as soon as um, wait, okay, that makes sense because um, Kylo is older than Rey. So Kylo was born, then he turned roughly past 10 years after he was born. He turned. He was probably like 14, we'll say, or something like that.
Yeah.
And the Force was out of balance because he turned, and then Snoke, and I'm going to assume Palpatine counts too. So they brought Leia, or not Leia, because what is it? Luke and Leia are the only Force users known in that galaxy at the moment on the light side. Dark side, we'll say Snoke, Palpatine, and Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 and 2. They needed one more to strike a balance, which would be Rey. So I'm guessing, yeah, Rey is the chosen one, and she's gonna have to bring the balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if that still coincides with
No. Yeah. Yeah.
the Last Jedi, but yeah, that's that.
But that I mean I could see all that tying in together because I mean it still kind of ties into what I was talking about
Yeah,
because like it would be then like do you remember in Avatar like when it showed all the previous avatars?
yeah,
That's why I was saying that maybe it kind of fits in with that. So like she'll glow like with light side like blue, right? Uh, and then maybe Kylo will be red or Palpatine will be red. I don't know, but or maybe it's just her. She just lights up blue. That's why he said 1,000 generations live in you, like 1,000 generations of chosen ones.
yeah.
So because I remember someone leaked supposedly, and it clearly didn't come to fruition that that was actually a concept for the Last Jedi. Was that Luke was gonna tell her, "You're my father," and she was gonna be like, "What?" And he's like, "You don't understand. You're the chosen one, and my father was the chosen one, and they are within you." So I was like, okay, that would be a really cool concept, but you know, clearly they didn't go with that, and Luke just sat
Died.
around and did nothing. Yeah, he just pieced out. So
He's like, y'all have fun with this shit. I'm out.
I'm out. So, but yeah, so that's what I. But that would
All right,
actually
I'm
be
gonna
really
head
cool.
out.
Peace. But cool. So yeah, I don't know. What other ones do you have before we have the juicy leaked ending that you have?
Okay, that one's part of it.
We could do like because we're at 38 minutes right now, so we could do like
Okay,
one
good timing.
more, and then we can do the leak.
Okay, let me.
You have to find the best
I'm gonna
one.
delete that I've already said. I said that one already. Let's see here, because I actually like 4 of these are all like the ending. So realistically, I think I have like 2. Oh, this is this one isn't necessarily the ending, but this is a big plot twist. So once again, spoiler alert, just in case. Palpatine will call Rey his granddaughter. That threw me off. I was like, wait, what?
Claim his
That
that maybe he had a kid.
yeah, but
Oh.
that's I don't know. I'm trying to think of how that could work. I don't know. That's wild.
I
I
mean,
I couldn't even think of an explanation for it. Really, I was
mean,
trying to, but
yeah,
like,
nobody would want to bust anything up on him once he got zapped. You know, in episode 3. I mean, that was a crusty looking man.
yeah, I don't know who was gonna bust that Tatiana down. You know what I'm saying?
But
His forehead looked like a butthole. What would his actual butthole look like? Good lord.
good lord.
No.
Shout out to everyone that has a butthead. You know what I'm saying? All right, so But I mean, maybe. I mean, if he had a kid between episodes 1 and 3, prior to Mace Windu jacking his doink up, um, maybe because then that would give enough time for them to have a kid, which would then be Rey, like his kids to have a child.
Unless he did what he did with Anakin, and he
abused him.
The Force to make.
Got
but
it.
that would make that wouldn't really line up, because then he'd be that person, or Rey would be his daughter, not his granddaughter, unless he impregnated.
If anything,
I don't know.
If anything, Luke and Leia. Oh, okay. How about this? So what if when Luke says there's 1,000? Okay, let me back up because I just thought of this and I thought it was cool. All right, so technically, Luke and Leia could be considered his grandchildren because he created Anakin, who was then his child. So Luke and Leia would be his grandchildren. So what if Rey has Luke inside of her? Not like that. That's weird. He's old. That's kind of whatever. Anyway, so what if when he says 1,000 generations live in you, like the force of Luke and Anakin are inside of Rey? That means that he could say that she is his grandchild.
I can definitely see that.
Okay, I was like, all right, I'm reaching out on a far limb here. I want to see what he's gonna say.
No.
I'm on a very far limb right now. So, I mean, that could be something interesting, but I don't. That would be hard to put together.
Yeah.
So
I really can't think of how they would go about doing that.
Yeah, that doesn't really make too much sense to me. So, okay, so you have.
So ready for the ending?
Okay, all right. So this is the juicy spoiler. So this could be a spoiler for anyone that's listening.
This is the biggest one in this podcast.
Yeah.
It would be this one, because this would be the actual fight scene and everything.
Yeah, the
pertaining
whole
to that
leaked ending of how the movie's gonna wrap up. So if you don't want to watch, click off. If not, here we go. Take it away.
Oh, okay. So what I gathered here from one was that Kylo will sacrifice himself. That's what the leak says, is that Kylo will sacrifice himself. Basically, Rey apparently early on in the movie learns that he can do Force healing, which is what Baby Yoda does in The Mandalorian. Actually, I think that's what they considered. I don't know. But she learns that she can do that earlier in the movie on some random ass animal. And he's like, well, damn. So she uses that. She tries to use it, but she can't later on that fight because she's good. And Kylo in the epic sacrifice, he uses the Force with her to do that healing ability, and Palpatine kills him for it. So Palpatine apparently throws him down a well or something, like that's where they're fighting. Because they're in the old throne room, and there's still like a well there apparently that Palpatine got thrown into, so he throws Kylo in it.
Oh my god! And wait, so you're saying Palpatine is a person right now, not like imbued? He's
a being there.
Okay,
he's all jacked up though.
Sentient. Got it.
No, I think he sapped the power from them, or he basically did this absorb thing where he like rejuvenated himself. So he didn't look. He went back to his episode 3 self, I think, not like his non-wrinkly self. He's still wrinkly, but he looks worse in his.
Got it.
I think. And he becomes insanely strong, and Kylo does that, and Rey finally gets enough power to defeat him. But the way she does it is, supposedly does it is, so Palpatine starts shooting lightning up in the air at the fleet that's fighting above, at the Resistance and the Empire that's fighting. He starts shooting lightning at it and literally starts like killing and like maiming, I guess, all the people that are fighting up there, Rebel and Resistance alike, with just the lightning from his hands. And Rey does something, and he tries to shoot the lightning at her, or she brings out, first of all, she activates 2 lightsabers and does like a cross in front of her, like an X in front of her, and deflects his lightning back at him, and that's how he dies, supposedly.
Oh my God.
And I think like before she does that, the way she gets like her main power is Kylo comes, or like all the voices overlap at that point. That's when she's like, oh, something something. I guess all the thousand generations live inside you. That's what that quote comes from. I think that's
The final
when Luke said,
battle she has.
yeah, and I think that's when they. Now this is the crazy part, and I struggle to believe it. They were saying that Luke will speak, Leia will speak, Anakin will speak, Obi-Wan will speak, and at that point I was like, okay, I can deal with all of this. And then they said Ezra and Ahsoka would say something, which I thought was crazy, until I looked back at Rebels and realized at one point, do you remember that? I don't know if you watched much of Rebels. If you remember when Ezra went into that world between worlds, he could see the portals. That's how he saved Ahsoka in the first place.
Yeah.
You can, in that clip, you can hear Rey and Kylo, Anakin, everybody talking. So basically, you can see the future and the past in that. So I'm wondering, you can see the future, past, present, everything.
Oh, wow.
So what if Ezra and Ahsoka are in that realm for some reason again after Rebels, however Rebels ended? Because I know they disappeared.
They basically just yeeted.
Yeah. If they were potentially in there and helped save the galaxy once and for all, because they realize that's the final fight, so that's why they're there. I wouldn't mind if they're there, if their voices are heard. That I wouldn't mind that at all. If they explain it right.
Yeah.
So, but that was crazy. I was like, okay, Ezra and Ahsoka, that's wild.
No, actually, I was just thinking, I was like, wow, they haven't really touched on any of the characters, like Ahsoka or Ezra, like.
And now wouldn't be a bad time to do it. I mean, but the only reason why it'd be weird to have him in the movie is a lot of people won't know who that is, because not everybody has seen the Clone Wars. That's not something.
That's the only
it's
downside.
Not part of it. Yeah, so that's the only thing I'm like, okay, they might not do it, but
oh my god, that would be amazing though.
That would be cool to hear Ahsoka's voice saying something then, and or because I know they said like everybody's gonna be a Force ghost or a Force voice, not a Force ghost. Like they're not gonna have a Force ghost in the movie supposedly, because cut them. Like Anakin was supposed to have a Force ghost scene, but I think I heard something like they might have cut that or something. Which if they did, I'm gonna be pissed off.
That would be so annoying. They should just have a full like. Okay, did you see the Harry Potter movies?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you know in the Deathly Hallow, right before Harry basically goes to sacrifice himself in the woods, he sees like his parents, his uncle, some of the other people that sacrifice themselves to save Harry.
Yeah.
They come back as like these ghosts, like giving him like a talk before he goes and does this, like his final battle. Like I could see them doing that for Rey, like Obi-Wan, Anakin, Luke. Leia,
and that's something
Yoda.
You have to have visible. That's not something you have as just a voice.
Audio.
That's got to be something you see.
Yeah,
like
that would be amazing. That would be a great way, just to be like everyone's here. Everyone, from every trilogy is here in support of what's happening right
That'll
now.
give the sense that this is the last battle. This is it. This is like to end it all.
Yep. The end of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Oh my
god.
I
don't know if they.
That gives me chills.
I would be a little bummed, right? That would bum me out if that it is just voices. But even then, I'd still be glad that that's in there too.
Yeah.
That would still give the effect, just not as much as it would have with
an actual Force ghost or something.
Yeah, which although it would be hard to do that with Ezra and Ahsoka since they were animated. So
yeah.
But Anakin is a given. Like.
Yeah, they should be able to just do it.
Trying to think if there's anything else to this theory. I know they said they're going to include all of that in the Blu-ray too. Like I'm guessing anything they cut from the movie, the final cut from the movie, they will put into a deleted scene for the Blu-ray edition that comes out probably next year. I'm guessing.
Got it.
So.
Well, then I guess we're gonna just have to get the Blu-ray and have another podcast.
Right.
Oh my god.
So we got podcast ideas for a year in advance.
That's crazy, dude. That's a crazy leak. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I I do kind of hope it is true.
Yeah, me
But at the
too.
same time, I don't, because I still want. I will be surprised if this happens, but if it, I won't be as surprised as if something else entirely happens. And
Yeah.
um,
Oh my god,
so
man,
yeah.
that's crazy. But
So what's yours?
no, I didn't. So I didn't. I started reading a leak, but then I kind of just left it. But it kind of followed the same concept uh, of that. But I decided not to read the rest of it because I didn't want to kind of spoil it or read something potentially um, that you would have read.
Hmm.
But I'm trying to remember like that basically like I think one of the things that they said that Kylo Ren was, and this is like a potential spoiler, that uh like Kylo was supposed to find this thing called Vader's Wayfinder, and it was something that could allow him to go where he needs to go on, I think the planet that the Death Star is on is called Exegol or something like that. I don't know.
That's what they call it, Exegol, in my
Yeah.
that's
So
what they were called.
yeah, so like in that he has to fly through this red nebula, which is shown or something, and that like Palpatine's, he has like it shows his face, but it's like these white eyes attached by his back to some vertical metal arm. I don't know. It was basically just Snoke telling Kylo what to do throughout the whole movie. So Kylo is now someone else's bitch.
He's
But
always been somebody's bitch.
exactly. Um, I don't know, but honestly, I'm gonna be thoroughly upset if uh, what am I saying? I'm gonna be really upset if Chewbacca dies.
Yes. Okay. That I'm gonna. I really hope they don't go with an ending where most of the good people die, and it comes down like how the Force Unleashed ended, where literally everybody was dying, and Starkiller gives his life to try to save them, but still fails, and everybody dies.
This
That
is well, actually, this is one thing that I saw that okay, this could be an amazing spoiler, but scary at the same time. So that scene where 3PO is hooked up to, I'm guessing it's somewhere in the Falcon, maybe. Although I don't think it is at the same time because there's a B2 or B1 battle droid in the background you can
yes, I
actually
was gonna
see.
say that was I didn't notice that at first until somebody
Hmm.
pointed it out.
So why he's hooked up and why his eyes glow red is I think that that fight that Rey has with Kylo, where on that white area where she has the dagger, is she steals the dagger and then takes it back and has to decrypt it in like the Sith artifacts. But in order to do it, this is what this person was saying, that they had to hook C3PO up to try and uh, translate it. But in order to do it, it's going to require his memory to be completely wiped. He will not remember anything. He won't remember people. He won't remember R2. Uh, so basically, that's why he says, like, I'm taking one last look at my friends because he's not going to remember them. And then his eyes glow red because he says what's transcribed on the Sith or artifact, and then he resets, comes back, and says, "Hello, I'm C3PO. Who are you?" That would be really sad.
God. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all I had.
Okay, that's solid. That's solid.
So
Damn, I don't know. Like
God, this is crazy. Just thinking about all these things.
the main reason that I feel like these leaks are true is because the ones that I'm seeing across the board are all the same. They're all the same, and they all line up with the TV spots, the trailers. So
Yeah.
I
Gosh,
don't know.
this is crazy, dude. It's an end. Like, I mean, we weren't alive for the original trilogy, but I mean, the prequels and now the sequels, it's all happening in our lifetime.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's insane. What is it? The movie comes out in what, 10 days, something like that?
What's
No, it's
today?
not 10 days. It's a little more than that.
It's no,
It
yeah,
comes out
nine,
in
nine
20.
days. 9 days.
Oh, 9 days. Jesus.
Technically,
Oh God. Oh God, it's happening.
when this is put up, it'll probably be 8 days, but so it's fine. Um, oh my god! And what's even crazier is this is the longest podcast that we've had so far, and it's simply just been on Star Wars. That's
right?
crazy. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say about all this. It's crazy, man. But I guess we'll end out the podcast here. You know, on
Yep.
these sad notes that the Skywalker saga is coming to an end. You know,
Yep.
so
It's
hopefully
been real.
it's been real. Thank you, Star Wars. But hopefully everyone enjoyed this. We're gonna be doing some new podcasts coming up soon. And we're of course once all of our gang watches the Rise of Skywalker, we will 100% be doing a video. If not, I know Shane and I will be doing a video on talking about our thoughts and seeing if any of our theories were correct, and comparing all those things. But yeah, I guess that's it. So,
Yep, it's been real, guys.
It's been real. All right. So, all right, we'll wrap it up here. So, thank you guys for watching, and
Thanks.
We'll see you guys on the next podcast, I guess.
Peace.
Peace.